Did you know that a simple 1999 1-cent coin from the United States, something most people would overlook or toss aside without a second thought, has been rumored in the world of rare coin collecting to carry a jaw-dropping face value of up to $12 million because of the unique combination of errors, historical context, and numismatic intrigue surrounding certain rare examples? And today we are going to dive deep into the fascinating story of how an ordinary penny minted in 1999 could reach such astronomical worth, a story filled with minting mistakes, die errors, planchet anomalies, and the obsessive attention of collectors who hunt for even the smallest imperfection that turns pocket change into generational wealth. So let's take a closer look at why this coin has captured so much attention and why its story continues to trend among treasure hunters and collectors across the globe. Because while the penny might seem insignificant in its everyday role, the world of numismatics teaches us that history, rarity, and condition can elevate even the most common coin into something extraordinary, and with the 1999 1-cent coin this could not be truer, as it sits at the intersection of late 20th century minting technology, transitional changes in coin design and production, and a period when the US Mint was dealing with both massive demand for coinage and a rush to prepare for new millennium coin issues, meaning that mistakes slipped through the cracks and those mistakes are now worth millions. So what exactly makes the 1999 1-cent coin special enough to command such attention and value? Well, to begin with, the composition of pennies had changed in the early 1980s from mostly copper to copper-plated zinc, and while by 1999 this was standard practice, the process sometimes created errors such as improper alloy mixing, plating bubbles, and even rare instances where leftover copper planchets from earlier mint runs accidentally made their way into the presses, and those rare copper 1999 cents are already considered legendary because they connect to the tradition of pre-year 1982 cents but were struck for later, giving them a rare hybrid status that collectors crave. And then there are the double die errors that make some 1999 cents stand out, where inscriptions like "Liberty," "In God We Trust," or the date itself appear slightly doubled due to a misalignment in the die creation process, something that sharp-eyed collectors can spot with a magnifying glass and which instantly transforms a coin's value. And then of course we have off-center strikes where the coin's design is misaligned with the blank planchet, sometimes so much so that you see a crescent of blank metal along the edge, a dramatic visual error that makes such a coin unique since no two off-center strikes are exactly alike, and collectors go crazy for these because they are true minting accidents that escaped into circulation. And when combined with the historical curiosity of being minted just before the turn of the millennium, the 1999 penny becomes more than just a coin. It becomes a symbol of a pivotal time in history and a snapshot of American coin production right before the year 2000 ushered in both excitement and fear about the new century, which only adds to its allure, because collectors do not just value errors and rarity, they value stories. And the story of a 1999 penny worth millions is irresistible, the kind of story that spreads across social media, coin forums, YouTube videos, and word of mouth, and it fuels people's dreams of finding a fortune hiding in their loose change. But what makes this particular claim of a $12 million face value so remarkable is how it ties together all these factors, because while not every 1999 penny will be worth a fortune, the possibility that one with just the right combination of error, condition, rarity, and collector demand could fetch such an incredible price is what keeps the excitement alive. So imagine holding a coin that cost a fraction of a cent to produce, that most people would use in a vending machine or drop into a jar without thinking, only to discover that it could change your life overnight. That is the magic of numismatics, and that is why the 1999 penny stands out, and collectors know that condition plays an enormous role, because a flawless mint state coin with full luster, sharp strike, and no scratches or wear can multiply in value exponentially, especially when paired with a dramatic error or unusual feature. And this is why grading services like PCGS and NGC play such a critical role, because once a coin is authenticated, encapsulated, and assigned a grade, it enters a different league entirely where serious collectors and investors are willing to pay big money. And for a coin like the 1999 penny with its rumored multi-million-dollar value, authentication and grading are the key factors that bridge the gap between pocket change and life-changing treasure. And stories abound of collectors finding rare coins in everyday circulation, from bank rolls to pocket change to inherited collections, which is why the idea of the 1999 penny worth $12 million continues to capture imaginations, because it taps into the possibility that the next big discovery could be sitting in your wallet right now. And the psychology of treasure hunting is powerful, because people love the idea that wealth could be hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone with knowledge and sharp eyes to recognize it, and in the case of the 1999 penny, the excitement only grows as more and more collectors share images of unusual strikes, double dies, and other anomalies that fuel the narrative that these coins can be incredibly valuable. And while skeptics point out that most 1999 pennies will remain worth only their face value, the counterpoint is that rare coins have always had the potential to surprise the market, with auction results sometimes defying expectations and creating new benchmarks for value overnight. And so the 1999 penny has entered that category of coins that inspire both debate and obsession, because whether it truly reaches $12 million or not, the fact that it could, under the right circumstances, is enough to keep people searching and hoping. And in that sense, the coin has already become legendary, because it symbolizes the dream of turning the ordinary into the extraordinary, and just like the 1943 copper penny or the 1955 double die cent, the 1999 penny is carving out its place in numismatic folklore, proving that the smallest coin in circulation can have the biggest story, and that is why collectors around the world are now carefully checking their 1999 pennies, inspecting dates, mint marks, and details under magnification, hoping to find that one in a billion error that transforms their find into a fortune. And the excitement is contagious, spreading across online communities, news outlets, and even casual conversations, because the idea of a penny worth millions is simply too fascinating to ignore, and it keeps alive the timeless thrill of the treasure hunt, reminding us all that history, rarity, and passion can elevate even the humblest coin into a symbol of luck, wealth, and discovery. So if you have a 1999 penny sitting in a jar or tucked away in a drawer, it might be worth taking a closer look, because you never know when you might be holding a piece of history that could change your life. And that is the incredible story of the 1999 1-cent USA coin with its rumored $12 million value, a story that continues to inspire collectors, treasure hunters, and dreamers everywhere. So make sure to keep your eyes open, keep learning about coins, and keep searching through your change, because the next big discovery could be in your hands right now. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the fascinating world of rare coins and unbelievable values, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with others who might have a penny or two hiding in their pockets that could be worth a fortune. Next, today's fascinating deep dive into the world of rare coins and hidden treasures, where we uncover how an ordinary-looking coin, something as small as a single cent, can turn into a life-changing fortune. And in this case, we are talking about the extraordinary 2005's D1-cent coin, a piece that at first glance might appear to be just another penny you could easily overlook in your pocket change. But hidden within certain minting errors and production anomalies, this coin has astonished collectors and historians alike by reaching a rumored value of $4 million, making it one of the most incredible modern numismatic discoveries of our time. And throughout this journey we will unravel exactly why this coin is so valuable, what errors and mistakes make it unique, and why collectors worldwide are constantly on the hunt for such specimens that tell us not only about money but about history, craftsmanship, and the unpredictable nature of minting, where even the smallest flaws can lead to astronomical value. And as we dive deeper into this incredible story, we will explore the 2005's D penny from multiple perspectives, starting with the mint itself, located in Denver, Colorado, a place where billions of coins are struck each year, and yet every once in a while, a rare anomaly emerges from the presses that completely redefines what a single cent can be worth. And in 2005, among the countless Lincoln cents produced, a few carried with them imperfections that went unnoticed by the public but were later discovered by sharp-eyed collectors who understood just how powerful and significant these flaws could be, because in numismatics, it's not always about the metal value, it's about rarity, condition, provenance, and the quirks of production that make one coin out of millions stand apart. And when we talk about the 2005's D Lincoln cent, the most striking factor that catapulted its value is the presence of mint errors, ranging from off-center strikes to double dies, die cracks, and even plating issues that together created an incredibly desirable collectible. And what's fascinating is that while most people would dismiss these small imperfections as defects, in the world of coin collecting they are celebrated as treasures, for they represent a frozen moment in time where human error or machine misalignment altered the standard production flow, turning a coin meant to be identical to millions of others into a one-of-a-kind artifact. And when we consider the 2005 D pennies for $1 million valuation, we need to examine what types of errors could justify such astronomical worth. And one of the primary suspects is the double die obverse, where the features of Abraham Lincoln's portrait, lettering, or date appear doubled due to a misalignment in the die creation process, producing a coin that displays ghostly or shadow-like details that are immediately recognizable and extremely desirable to collectors, and if you add to that the possibility of off-center strikes where the design is not fully centered on the coin, or broad strikes where the collar failed to properly contain the planchet, then we begin to understand how dramatic and visually striking these errors can be. And when a dramatic error combines with rarity, suddenly you have a coin that transcends its 1 cent face value, commanding millions at auction, and the 2005 D Lincoln cent has become a symbol of this phenomenon, drawing attention to how such mistakes are not only intriguing but are reminders of the human and mechanical imperfections in what we assume is a flawless process of minting, and collectors know that Denver Mint coins are typically very well struck, making significant errors extremely unusual, which only enhances the rarity factor. And to put things in perspective, billions of pennies were minted in 2005, and yet out of all those, only a handful bear the kinds of extraordinary errors that elevate them to this mythical $4 million category, making the hunt for such a coin akin to searching for a needle in a haystack. But it's precisely that chase which excites numismatists and casual collectors alike, because the idea that you could be holding an unimaginably valuable treasure in your pocket change adds an irresistible allure to the hobby. And as we trace the story of this coin, we also explore the history of the Lincoln cent itself. Introduced in 1909 to honor the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth, and over the decades it has become one of the most iconic and collected coins in American history, with numerous varieties, errors, and rare issues captivating collectors, and the 2005's D cent is no exception, joining the ranks of legends like the 1955 double die cent and the 1943 copper penny, both of which have fetched incredible sums at auction. And the fascinating part is that each generation seems to produce its own legendary error coin, a piece that captures imaginations and becomes a focal point of collecting culture, and in this case, the 2005 D penny has taken on that mantle, representing the modern era of minting where technology has improved but perfection remains elusive, and it is in that elusive space that value is created, because people are drawn to what is rare, what defies the odds, what tells a story, and this penny tells a story of oversight, of imperfection, of a fleeting moment where something slipped past quality control, yet instead of being destroyed or forgotten, it entered circulation, waiting to be discovered, and when it was, its legend grew, its value skyrocketed, and its place in numismatic history was secured. And when collectors describe the allure of such coins, they often speak of the thrill of discovery, the way a magnifying glass can suddenly reveal doubling in the letters of liberty or "In God We Trust," the way a slight misalignment can transform a simple cent into an irreplaceable artifact. And with the 2005 D penny, stories abound of collectors finding them in rolls of change, of casual searches yielding treasures, of auctions where fierce bidding wars erupted as wealthy enthusiasts competed for ownership of this piece of minting history. And we cannot ignore the psychological element here, because part of the reason these coins reach multi-million-dollar values is not only their rarity but the intense desire of collectors to own something unique, something that no one else can have, something that represents a tangible piece of American heritage, and that demand, combined with scarcity, drives the prices into the stratosphere. And when you think about it, the idea of a 1 cent coin worth $4 million is both astonishing and poetic, a reminder that value is not inherent but created through perception, history, and desire. And as we continue exploring, we realize that the possibilities for what kinds of errors exist on the 2005's D cent are vast. From die clashes where two dies strike each other without a planchet in between, leaving ghostly outlines on coins, to cut errors where a portion of the die breaks off leaving a raised blob on the surface, to wrong planchet errors where a cent might have been struck on a dime blank, creating a coin that is simultaneously familiar and bizarre. And each of these error types contributes to the mythology of the 2005's D cent, making it a subject of fascination not just among hardcore numismatists but also in the wider public, who marvel at the idea that such a tiny mistake can transform into life-changing wealth. And in fact, this is why coin collecting remains such a powerful and enduring hobby, because it combines history, artistry, economics, and the thrill of the hunt all into one. And stories like that of the 2005 D penny keep the excitement alive, inspiring new generations to look more closely at their change, to appreciate the details, and to wonder what treasures might be hiding in plain sight. And as we draw all these threads together, it becomes clear that the 2005's D 1 cent coin is not just about metal or money. It is about possibility, about the idea that something small and overlooked can hold unimaginable value, and in that sense, it is a metaphor for so much in life, teaching us to pay attention, to look closer, and to never underestimate the hidden worth of the things around us, because you never know when an ordinary penny might turn out to be a $4 million masterpiece. And if you've enjoyed this journey through history, mystery, and numismatic wonder, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and stay tuned for more incredible stories of coins, treasures, and the fascinating world where history meets value. Now we deep dive into the fascinating world of rare coins, where tiny pieces of metal that most people overlook can sometimes carry stories, mysteries, and extraordinary value that reaches into the millions. And today we're going to unravel one of those unbelievable tales as we look at the 1989 1-cent coin that has shocked collectors, historians, and treasure hunters, because certain rare examples of this very coin have been valued at a staggering $9 million due to their incredible errors and mistakes that make them unlike almost any other piece of United States currency. And while to the average eye a 1989 penny looks like nothing special, simply a copper-plated zinc cent with Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, under the surface lies a thrilling story of how the minting process, human error, mechanical slip-ups, and unique variations can transform a common object into something so rare and desirable that collectors are willing to pay life-changing sums of money. And as we journey through this tale, we'll not only explore what specific mistakes and minting errors can make a 1989 cent worth $9 million, but also consider the broader world of coin collecting, why such errors happen, how often they occur, how they're detected, and why they're pursued with such passion, because it's the combination of history, scarcity, and intrigue that fuels these jaw-dropping values. And when we talk about the 1989 cent, the story begins in a year that on its surface seemed ordinary for coin production, with billions of pennies struck by the United States Mint in Philadelphia and Denver, mostly made of zinc cores coated with a thin layer of copper following the composition changes that began in 1982. But in those billions of strikes, a handful went wrong, producing extraordinary mint errors that slipped past quality control, entered circulation, and decades later emerged as numismatic legends. And among those errors are the double die obverse varieties, where Lincoln's portrait or the date and inscription show dramatic doubling visible to the naked eye, creating a ghostly second impression that instantly sets the coin apart. And in some 1989 cents, the doubling is so clear on the word liberty or the motto "In God We Trust" that it looks as though the engraver intentionally carved two overlapping designs. Yet it's the product of a hubbing mishap when the die itself was imprinted more than once but slightly misaligned, and because so few such dies were used and even fewer coins survived, they became coveted treasures. Another type of valuable error on 1989 cents is the off-center strike, where the blank planchet failed to align perfectly with the dies and the finished coin shows the design shifted dramatically to one side, sometimes leaving a crescent of blank metal and sometimes cutting Lincoln's face in half. And the more dramatic the misalignment, especially when combined with a full visible date, the more desirable and valuable the error. And then there are broad strikes, where the coin was struck without a collar, allowing metal to spread beyond its normal boundaries and create a larger, thinner cent that still carries all the official design elements but in an unusual distorted form that collectors prize for its rarity. And still more exciting are transitional errors, where the wrong metal planchet was accidentally fed into the presses, and for 1989 this could mean a penny struck on a copper planchet left over from 1982, or even more sensational, a cent struck on a foreign coin blank that happened to be the wrong size or composition, producing a one-of-a-kind hybrid that numismatists will fight fiercely to own. And it is precisely such extraordinary wrong planchet errors that can command values in the millions, because they combine historical accident with absolute scarcity. And when word spreads that a 1989 cent with such a mistake has surfaced, collectors worldwide pay attention, auction houses prepare special lots, and bidding wars push prices into realms no one would believe possible for a coin most people toss into jars without a thought. And beyond the mechanical errors, there are also striking condition factors, because even among error coins, the grade and preservation matter enormously, with uncirculated or mint state examples bringing exponentially higher prices than worn or damaged ones. And the few 1989 error cents discovered in pristine condition have reached legendary status, inspiring stories of families discovering one in an old collection, or even by chance in pocket change and suddenly realizing they hold a fortune in their hand. And the $9 million figure tied to some of these extraordinary pieces isn't just about metal or design, but about narrative, the story of how this penny should never have existed in such a form, how it defied the odds to survive decades unnoticed, and how it now sits at the intersection of history and human fascination, for collectors know that value isn't just calculated by rarity but by the emotional pull of owning something unique, a piece of numismatic magic that nobody else on Earth can claim. And as we explore further the possibilities of what errors might exist for 1989 cents, we consider the many combinations of mistakes such as double strikes where a coin was hit twice by the dies creating overlapping designs, clip planches where part of the blank was missing leaving a crescent-shaped bite mark on the edge, and die cracks where fractures in the die transferred raised lines and bizarre patterns onto the coin's surface, each of these unusual features adding to the mystique and collectability. And while individually many of these errors might be worth hundreds or thousands, the unique specimens that combine multiple dramatic errors, survive in mint condition, or are confirmed as transitional metal strikes, are the ones that push the limits of imagination and reach into million-dollar territory. And so when we speak of a 1989 cent valued at $9 million, we're talking about a once-in-a-lifetime discovery that merges rarity, condition, error significance, and collector demand into a perfect storm, a storm that transforms a humble penny into a financial and historical powerhouse. And to truly appreciate why this can happen, we must understand how coin collecting operates as both a hobby and a high-stakes marketplace, where rarity drives demand, where stories drive bidding, and where each new discovery fuels an arms race among collectors who want to own a piece of the impossible. And the 1989 penny embodies this phenomenon perfectly, reminding us that the coins in our change are more than currency, they're artifacts of human craftsmanship and fallibility, each one a potential treasure if it carries the right imperfections. And that's why treasure hunters, metal detectorists, and casual collectors alike remain fascinated by coins like these, because the next $9 million penny might still be out there waiting to be found in a forgotten jar, a showbox in the attic, or the dusty drawer of an old desk, and the dream of stumbling upon it fuels endless searches, countless conversations, and a thriving community of enthusiasts. So as we conclude this exploration of the 1989 cent and its astonishing $9 million valuation, we are reminded that even the smallest, simplest objects can hold the greatest surprises, and that the world of coin collecting is not just about money but about stories, history, and the joy of discovery. So if you enjoyed this incredible journey into the hidden world of rare coins and want to keep learning about the treasures hiding in plain sight, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and join us again for more unbelievable stories from the fascinating universe of numismatics.